From blueprints to booming businesses, from groundbreaking to grand openings, this is Beyond the Blueprint. Join host Brad Howard as he takes you behind the scenes of growth and development in Mooresville, Lake Norman, and beyond. We're talking with the decision makers, the planners, the visionaries shaping our communities, giving exclusive insight into what happens before, during, and after projects that define our region. The future is being built right now. Let's go beyond the blueprint.
Good Friday afternoon. Thank you to those tuning in on the radio on 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM, on social media, on WSICnews.com, and on demand with the WSIC News app. I'm your host, Brad Howard, and today we're joined by Commissioner Lisa Qualls, Commissioner for the town of Mooresville and Chair of the Charlotte Regional Transportation Organization. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
All right. Good to see you. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you for being here today. Want to start the show out with who is Lisa Qualls? Give us your background. How in the world did you get here before we take a deep dive into the transportation?
Sure, thanks. I'm originally from Ohio, and I moved here in 1999. I got here as quick as I could, so it's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to watch all of the evolution of Lake Norman and be a part of that. My real job is I'm a mortgage lender and do residential mortgage lending, so I get to see a lot of the new folks like myself that discover our beautiful area to move here. And I was appointed to the town board in December of 2011 when at that time Commissioner Carney was appointed to the state Senate seat and have sought re-election since then. And this is my 14th year. The part of the board that I concentrate on is transportation. So as the board liaison to CRTPO, I've been on that, appointed to that seat to represent Mooresville since really followed Mac Herring in that seat. So that would have been 2012. And the last 2 years have been the chair, and 2 years before that was the vice chair. So doing a lot of things transportation.
That's an interesting time to be chair of the CRTPO when the finances for the state are short and in short supply, and also the amount of growth that we've had since then. So today's show we're going to dive into those topics. Let's just go into the but we're going to talk who you are, then go into the Charlotte Regional Transportation Organization and what's going on, and then we'll come back and talk about things more associated with Mooresville, and then we'll talk about the future. So let's start with the CRTPO. I know you had given me a list of things that are very impactful to our region, and first and foremost is to talk about the Federal Surface Transportation Authorization that will expire in September of next year. And why is that so important that we address that now?
So obviously it takes a while for appropriations and authorizations to come through. The surface transportation authorization is where we get all the money for the state and dribbles down through the federal level. So those funds obviously appropriated at the federal level then come through the state and then appropriated to the different MPOs, which that's the Charlotte Regional Transportation. So if I say CRTPO, you know what that is. Those funds can be used not just for highways, but for bike ped paths, sidewalks, parking, that type of thing. So we need that money. It's typically not too contentious in D.C., but as we know, everything seems to be contentious in D.C. So we'll look forward to that reauthorization coming through. But as they're putting together the details of that, will be real important.
So if it's not reauthorized, what impact would that have?
So it doesn't necessarily stop money coming currently. It will stop future dollars. So projects that we have on our STIP list, which is the state list, for 5 years out, then we'll continue to slow down until we do have money. So we need money.
So anything on the STIP, if this isn't authorized, could get pushed out further and further and further.
Mm-hmm.
And on previous shows, we've talked about the STIP and the projects and how they float and move around. Bill Thunberg did a great job explaining it a couple months ago. help for folks that maybe didn't or hear that show. How does that process work?
So for all of the projects that get funding through the state, years ago there really wasn't a true formula, and thank goodness that there was wisdom that brought forward the STIP process that scores each project based on a number of different factors. One of them obviously being congestion and access to jobs, that type of thing. So as those lists are compiled, they're broken down in between statewide projects, region projects, and local projects, which we would call division projects. So we don't have to compete. We're lucky in Mooresville. We don't compete with Charlotte for projects because they're in a different division than we are. They're in Division 10, we're in Division 12, and they're also in a different region. So that's good, but we do compete with like Hickory, Gastonia, and Shelby, that type of thing in the region. So as the money trickles down into those different buckets, each project is scored again to make sure. And then there's only so much money, and that money has to be spread statewide. So they do try to make sure that each region has equitable dollars. The interesting part of how those dollars are spread out, when you think about, somebody asked me the other day, the Charlotte MSA is almost 50% of the North Carolina GDP. Do we get 50% of the money in our region? We would all say no. So,
we fight for every dollar we get, especially up here.
Very much so.
Very much so. So, I guess going through the projects to help people understand how everything works. So, you said not only are you a town commissioner, but you're also the chair of the CRTPO. What is the makeup? What is the CRTPO?
The CRTPO is a metropolitan planning organization that is required by federal law. So in order to get money, we have to be federally designated to get that money. But we're representing Mecklenburg Union and Iredell counties, doing all of the planning out for 50 years, which sounds like a lot, but it goes quickly.
So for everybody listening, you're the organization that is you're on the doorstep of the next 50 years of road work that needs to be done in the state.
Yes.
Or not the state, but in our little world, in our little bubble
Region.
of the state.
In those 3 counties.
Okay, and the makeup is, so there's folks from each commission on there from each town in those counties?
Each municipality and the counties, as well as the Transit Authority, Turnpike Authority, NCDOT, Board, and the Federal Highway Administration.
Okay, so you have insight into what's coming here, and you're probably, as chair, you have a good role as the person who's fighting for our projects. Before we go to the break, and we'll talk about this one, we were close to not having the funding for Highway 150.
Very close.
And we'll tease with, as soon as we come back, maybe give some insight into how that happened, and then we'll take that conversation and look at future road projects and how you need the right people in place that can fight to bring those dollars here, so we don't lose them and we don't continue to stay backed up in lines and traffic.
Exactly.
So, anyway, Brad Howard, this is Beyond the Blueprint, and we will be right back. And we're back, Beyond the Blueprint, with Town of Mooresville Commissioner Lisa Qualls, and also Chair of the CRTPO, the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization, the group that looks 50 years out on what our transportation infrastructure will look like. So we want to talk about 150 and how having strong local representation matters, especially in road funding and in government. So that's why, everything is hyper local, as Justin always says here at the radio station. But in politics, that is very true, and it goes for keeping our dollars and fighting to bring them back home. So, Lisa, if you could give us some insight into 150. I know we talked with Bill. The first time that project was discussed was in 1987. to widen 150 through Mooresville. Obviously, that's how long it takes to improve a road around here. But it takes good people fighting, and I want you to tell the story because you had an inside seat to it as to how close things could have gone in one direction or the other.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah, it does feel like it's when we talk about planning for 50 years, it feels like it's been 50 years trying to get Highway 150 project started in our area. So the great news was the project was finally out for bid last year, and we were all counting down and excited for that bid opening in mid-September. And the timing of that, unfortunately, was at the same time 2 weeks later that Hurricane Helene happened, as we're coming up on that 1 year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. So the bid went out, came back, opened up the bids, and we have the hurricane. And obviously, NCDOT was trying to figure out how do they even start to pay for all of the damage that they were discovering at that time. The bid came in over the engineer's estimate, surprise, surprise, with the increasing cost. And there's really a state threshold of about 20%. The bid came in 22% over the state's engineer bid. And at that point, there was an option for the state to reject all bids and take a pause. They very easily could have taken that, basically $260 million and applied it to the western part of the state. When the division engineer came and let me know, it was 2 minutes before we were starting the October CRTPO meeting. He stooped down and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know the bid came in 22% over." And he said, "It's 2% higher than it should be." And I said, "So?" We've been waiting 40 years, 50 years for this project.
1987.
Yeah.
Right.
So I said, that shouldn't be a problem. And he's like, "Well, it's probably going to be a problem." And so I took about 2 seconds to text Senator Sawyer and said, "You need to get Secretary Hopkins on the phone right away, and let's start really pushing this hard." And so she worked her end of it, and together we started to talk with the board members, NCDOT board members, made the trip up to Raleigh for their November board meeting to make sure that they awarded the contract. So had we not been engaged and had built the relationships with the team in Raleigh and our local team, I really do fear that the money would have gone to the western part of the state, which is, absolutely worthy, and our heartfelt sorrows to everything that's gone on up there. But we really needed to continue this project. We desperately needed this to continue. So,
And then that conversation point opens up the importance of your local elected municipal leaders having good relationship with the counties, with the counterparts at the state level, at the federal level, all throughout. So, because really, you're the first line of defense back to the citizens. Is here locally, and having the most impact on their lives. So thank you for fighting for 150. I sat in that traffic today.
mm-hmm.
So, but let's talk about other road projects that are coming up, especially in this area. So we can focus on Mooresville, but any other impactful projects in the Charlotte region that are from Huntersville to Harmony.
Sure. So there's orange barrels everywhere, and as we've all begged and pleaded and complained and been unhappy with the amount of growth without the infrastructure, because the state controls so much of the state, or all of the roads, that it's very hard for things to move quickly. But finally, we're getting orange barrels, and the good news is we have orange barrels. The bad news is we have orange barrels. There's going to be a delay. As you know, Highway 150 obviously is under construction right now. It looks terrible going through there, but all the trees are down, finishing up the right-of-way acquisition that will finish up the utilities being moved, and then they'll start to move dirt. That project's going to take a while. It's a 4-year project because they're only working at night. So that was part of the contract, is to only work at night to try to avoid the interruptions as much as possible. The last section of the widening of Raleigh School Road is under construction. And right now, the section of West Wilson from Highway 21 down to the golf course at Lawrence Avenue is 100% closed. There is a detour that's estimated to be closed for about 6 months. Hopefully, they'll get it done a little bit faster. But lane construction that's on that job is doing a tremendous job of really their work 24 hours a day. It feels like right now. So that's still another couple years away from being finished. That's a large intersection there at 21 and Brawley and West Wilson that will totally be transformed, but it'll be good to have that last section finished. And if you've been on Williamson Road, you've seen the trees being cut, power poles being moved, and that's in the stages of utilities starting to be moved. So we finally got the last piece of right-of-way on that section. Ironically enough, it was the post office.
It was the post office.
Yes, it took 3 years to get the post office, federal government to sign off on a state widening project. So,
And so that's not a part of the 150 project. That's a town project.
no, it is a state
It's a state
project. Yeah,
project,
so
okay.
it will really tie into the widening of 150 because the intersection at 150 Williamson and Bluefield Road, that project widening comes back all the way to is it Rolling Hills there? Not Rolling Hills, Knob Hill. And then that's Williamson Road will take off from there. So really at the first Citizens Bank section right there, it'll go on down. So that section of Williamson will go to just past Brawley, and then the next section will go from the Brawley School on all the way down to exit 33.
Okay. Now, are they going to replace the bridge at so that would be a new bridge?
Yeah, it'll be
Williamson?
widened.
It'll be widened.
Yeah, so that's on the next section, and then that section actually ties into, redoing exit 33. That
Right,
actually kind of ties into the Fairview flyover.
with the alignment. Yeah, and if you haven't seen all these projects that are up on the potential on the STIP, 10 years from now, it will look completely different. Your traffic patterns will be completely different than they are today. So is there anywhere that people can go to look at these projects and see what's in the works?
So NCDOT does have most of them up on their website, and I had reached out to their PIO the other day and said, hey, I don't see the Brawley School on here, so they were going to get that updated. So we try to, if they'll go to the any kind of the Mooresville social media, town of Mooresville social media, we try to keep all those up there. So,
Good.
so yeah,
Good.
more of those coming.
Yeah, one other project people are always asking about is the Cornelius Road interchange.
Yes, gosh, that's I go to sleep at night every night praying for that project to continue to move up. So we're working now that we have 150 underway. That is our next key project with the town and also with Senator Sawyer to get that moved up in the STIP for the appropriation. Right now, it's just outside of the funding and deliverable stage, but as we continue to work through opportunities and funding and putting projects there. But yes, exit 38 is 100% on our target right now.
Right. So, like I said, looking 10 years out, if you're just driving up 77, the landscape will change. You come across the lake, you have Langtree Road, and then there'll be a flyover at some point called the Fairview Flyover that doesn't have exit ramps, but just connects it over the interstate, and then exit 33, and then 35 Brawley School Road, and then you'll have a flyover. There's a flyover there.
The flyover will be just past 36 at midnight.
Midnight Oats, and then a new exit 38. So just the corridor up 77 is going to be completely different.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
and
And another part of that is, of course, the on the managed lanes, the proposal for widening the just single toll lane in Iredell County from 1 lane to 2 lanes. So that will also be coming soon as far as that proposal.
So there's an option out there where after Cornelius, where it goes down to 1 lane, or Davidson when it goes down to 1 lane, it'll be 2.
That is the coming soon proposal, like in the next 30 days from Mobility Partners to NCDOT to widen that.
Now, are there any topics about adding additional on and off exit points from the tolls, or?
So I think obviously Mooresville wants exit 38, Cornelius wants exit 27, and one of the key parts of this upcoming proposal is that it's going to include an option for adding heavy trucks, tractor trailers, in the toll lanes. So that's a large topic that we can.
Personally, I don't like trucks in the toll lanes, but
That seems to be the answer that I hear a lot.
well, we'll see where that one goes. Other projects before we go to break that are coming up, not just in Mooresville, but anywhere in the region that are going to be significant.
So the large project, the other end of 77 is a proposed toll project as well, and that RFQ has been released, and so the different concessionaires, there probably will be about 5 that will come back with their information to be qualified to then move to the next round to look at that proposal. So that will be a large project. The ones around Charlotte, obviously, we continue to watch the start date for the widening of 73, Highway 73 across the lake as well.
All right, well, we'll touch on that when we get back, and then we'll talk about the town of Mooresville. This is Brad Howard, and we are on Beyond the Blueprint with Commissioner Lisa Qualls, also the chairperson of the Charlotte Regional Transportation Organization. We were talking about 150, and I think we need to also mention 73. A lot of people will be asking because it is scheduled to do the same thing, and there's only certain points you can cross the lake, which is 150, which is 73, 150, Highway 70, and Interstate 40. So.
Very limited.
Very limited, but near and dear to some people's hearts between Denver and Huntersville.
Absolutely, yes. So the Highway 73 widening is separated into a number of different sections, and not only for construction but for funding. But it looks like right now the right-of-way is under acquisition and finishing up some of the planning documents. And the let date for that, which is when they would ask for the contract and put that out to bid, starts for the first section in 2027. So it goes 2027, 28, and 29 for the different sections. And then depending on funding, those could get combined together or delayed.
And, well, one good thing is, hopefully that the 150 project's far enough ahead that it would be an additional pressure valve for when they do 73, because I know several years ago they were lined up to happen at the same time, which would have been really interesting.
Oh, it would have been a disaster. Yeah. We in a perfect world, we would line up projects to where it would have an easier detour to move traffic around here.
Right. Yeah. Other key projects happening. Cornelius, they have the roundabouts going in, and I think exit 23 you'd mentioned is about.
I think they're just about finished with exit 23, and of course the roundabout here off of exit 28 at Highway 21 and Catawba Avenue. Everybody's already feeling the delays of making it again east and west.
Yes.
So the lake is a beautiful amenity to our area. That's why most of us are here, but it's also a little bit of a challenge of east-west connectivity.
Yes. So, but it's a wonderful place to live, like you said. One other thing before we go into the town of Mooresville, let's talk about the toll revenue issue. I understand that the toll lanes actually made a profit.
Yes, last year the mobility partners, after they've done all of the required calculations of math, I always call it kind of Chinese math. I think that's how they figure out how much the toll is in each section because it changes a lot. But
I watched it go from 415 to 440 while I was coming in today.
Yeah, so and there was not any kind of delay. So the figure that's I've been told is the net revenue for last year was $5 million. What state legislation says is that money is to come back to the corridor and be used in the corridor. Corridor meaning along I-77. So we are, when I say we, Senator Sawyer and I are very closely talking with the leadership at NCDOT to find out, okay, what does that look like? Is that coming to the down to CARPO to distribute to projects? What is that? What are we doing with that money? And that it doesn't get sucked up into a quote bucket called maintenance for some reason.
So it actually should get used for improvements, not just maintaining the
Correct.
improvements.
Correct. So, and it's actually, the original model was that it may take 15 years for it to have a net revenue, and we're in, year 5. So this is a lot earlier than anticipated. And one of the other part of net revenue, toll revenue, and staying in the corridor is there's a lot of folks in Raleigh, elected folks across the state that would love to see that money come to their area. And Senator Sawyer and Representative Carver and McNeely are, in line with us that we cannot let that happen. We're paying it. We need that money back here.
Understood. So road improvements everywhere. Near and dear to your heart is the town of Mooresville. So let's talk about what's happening in Mooresville.
Sure.
I had some key points here to hit, but you hosted the 2025 North Carolina Main Street Conference.
Yes, that was a huge success to have I think there were over 800 people registered, and I think the final number was anywhere from 600 to 700 that came. And that was the largest conference that our downtown commission and staff of the town of Mooresville and then the Visitors Bureau had come together to put that together. And I think everything went just fabulously. And of course, everybody loved Main Street, much like we all do, and had a great time. Retailers were happy with sales, and hotels were happy with room nights.
Right.
And the neat thing they did for their conference was, instead of, usually you go to a conference and they bring in catered meals and, serve while you're in the Mac Center, they actually pushed all of the attendees out to the restaurants for lunch. So they said, here's your lunch, hour and a half. Go here are the restaurants very
That's how
quickly.
economic development works.
It was wonderful that they really made a point to make sure that they pushed it out to all of the restaurateurs to take care of the attendees and what their lunch needs were, and dinner as well.
Yeah, and I wanted to focus too on the downtown, about how strong and vibrant and thriving downtown Mooresville is. And if you go downtown Davidson, is the same, and Huntersville. So all of these towns, not just because typically communities where they're on an interstate, the interstate will thrive and the downtowns will not. But in Mooresville, especially, but in most of the other towns, their downtowns are economically vibrant and full of life and people and restaurants and bars, and it's something as a kid that we didn't have here. So
You had Whataburger.
yeah, we did.
And still have Whataburger in Mooresville.
And I can remember what the drink was, but you would mix up
Witch
all the
Doctor.
Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So no, it's still there. Everything around it's changed a little bit, but very, very, very nice. What are some of the projects that you've been involved in and that are currently moving forward? Parks and Rec. In any of the things that when you came into office, you said these are things I want to accomplish.
Sure.
So looking back, and I'll go into a story after you finish. But I was driving through town last week, and I was reminiscing on things, and I had a story come up. But what do you think?
Sure. So it's been an exciting time to be part of the town board and representing the citizens of Mooresville. And I have to tell you that it really all boils down to having incredible employees and partners in the town, in the organization. So everybody from the bottom up, top down, that's focused on getting projects done. So it felt like for the last 10 years that we've been under construction for capital improvements. Built a new police station, and I get a lot of questions of like, why is it so large? Well, we built a police station that would suffice our needs for 25 years, not just for today or the next couple of years. So the police station, the old police station, then was repurposed into a building for our planning and the expansion of our building inspection services, IT. I mean, we went from when I came on the board probably 350 employees to well over 700. Well, most of those need to have a place
Right.
to work. So the police station, refurbishing the old police station, Liberty Park. You've seen, phase 1, 2, and 3 of Liberty Park, and really, talk about a secret to the sauce of downtown to bring people into downtown. Liberty Park's been absolutely a home run.
And you brought a lot of people downtown on Sunday.
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday,
night,
I'm sorry,
yeah, Saturday
Saturday.
night for Night Ranger and Jefferson Starship. Yes, it was. We thought that 38 Special was the largest at the 1st of August, but this one surpassed that.
I can honestly say, even at a Christmas parade, I don't think I've seen that many people in downtown Mooresville. I mean, cars, every artery that left out of downtown had cars lined on both sides of it.
Yeah, it was a great event. Weather was perfect. It was a good time had by all, and the great thing they did for the concert with that was to set up the additional screens on Church Street, so that even if you didn't get down in the park, you could watch the bands and hear everything. And they had a beer garden set up. They had couches. It was awesome. So we've got. I'll continue my list here shortly.
Yeah, no. We'll keep going down the list when we come right back. This is Beyond the Blueprint. I'm Brad Howard, and we're joined by Lisa Qualls today, and we will be right back. And we're back. I'm Brad Howard. This is Beyond the Blueprint. We're joined today by Commissioner Lisa Qualls, also the chairperson of the Charlotte Regional Transportation Organization. And we were talking about down in Mooresville now and all of the accomplishments. So she's been there since 2011 and had goals and objectives when she went into office. And we're talking about everything, as it plays out and all the impacts being made.
So we talked a little bit about start out with the police department, one of the projects that we've recently finished up, and repurposing the old police department. So in the last 10 years plus, we've added Station 5, Station 6, working on Station 7. Just got that land under MOU with Lowe's Corporate to put that kind of on the front part of their property on Langtree Road. Also built out a fire training center. The golf course, we did it. It seems like so long ago, but the golf course renovation and new clubhouse, I still call it new. The options of different phases of Liberty Park that everybody's gotten to enjoy with a lot of concerts and playground down in that area has just been a huge hit. Cornelius Park was partially finished when I came on the board, and then we just have finished up the last phase of that added some additional soccer fields and restrooms to really finish that project out. Mazeppa Road Park was finished, and we did upgrade several of those fields with turf. It's beautiful out there if you've got anybody that likes to play soccer. Edgemore Park, we did a lot of renovation on their tennis courts down there. The part of War Memorial that were tennis courts, we made pickleball courts, and they stay booked all the time. It seems like so long ago when the high school was doing their renovation and added the Performing Arts Center. The town was a partner into that as well. The upcoming projects that we have, if you've not been by Moore Park, you need to go by there. It's under construction. It was everything was taken down except the scoreboard and the fence, and that's going to be a world-class ballpark. It won't be quite as large and extravagant as Kannapolis, but it'll be doggone close with that. And then the other part of downtown that is underway is our planning for a parking deck. And so when we talk about how special the downtown is, to take that from the core and really have a vision from mill to mill. So from the Merino Mill all the way down to the Bay State Milling, really, expanding that vibrant area to be, walkable and different varieties of whether it's business and, we finally have people living there downtown. That was a big goal that had to be accomplished with Mill One and restaurants. So we want to really get that whole area. And we talked about at 150 as far as roads and moving cars, but that section and then the last section of Brawley School Road, you're going to be able to walk, like on Brawley School Road, you're going to be able to walk from downtown all the way past the point because there'll be a sidewalk.
A sidewalk
So,
connecting downtown to the lake.
yes.
So, yeah, the things I never thought I would see: the sidewalk all the way down Brawley School Road, the actual, the parking deck actually coming to life. I know we've talked about it for years. Yeah, and then we had Mr. Michael Bay on a few months back, and just the impact that mill has had, the rejuvenation that it brought to the area.
Yeah, his new restaurant is, I think, coming online next week.
In
The one that's
October,
yeah.
Or
In the old what was the powerhouse for the mill. So that Italian restaurant. So that's going to be another just
great addition
unbelievable
to downtown. So we've talked about all the growth. So sustaining the growth, we'll get into that. What are the challenges you see, including infrastructure, to balance the new growth with the historic charm we were just talking about with the downtown? How do we blend this together? Something that we always say is, look at our past and respect, what was before us, and lay the foundation so that the next 30 years, can be even better for our kids and grandkids than it was for us.
Sure. So obviously the key to the town, any town success is their downtown. So to preserve that as a walkable, vibrant area where you can, whether you want to come and have lunch, dinner, if there's, you want to have an office building down there, you want to have retail. So having a good mix of everything along Main Street and events to bring people into Main Street. We joke obviously in Mooresville, and I think all the other lake communities do as well as, do you know where downtown is if you live on the west side of town? So I think we've done a really good job of making sure people come there, but keeping that charm is the key to the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Growth is going to come. It's going to continue to come. People want to sell their land. Developers want to be here. And, we as residents that are already here, we want the amenities here. If we were a dying community, we wouldn't have Duke Health come in and buy the hospital and really put us in a better position medically. When I came in 1999, obviously we had the Lake Norman Hospital. They were just moving from the low rents over there, and Iredell Health Systems in Statesville. We didn't even have Novant at exit 23.
No.
So now to have Novant at 23, Atrium at 28, Duke Health at 33, and then Iredell Health Systems in Statesville, having that strong options of medical as well as the numerous options of education. So whether somebody wants their child to go to public school, private school, charter school, and the homeschool network is huge around Mooresville and in our area. So that's what brings everybody here. They're going to continue to come. It is very frustrating to all of us that roads don't come as quickly. Unfortunately, in a Dillon's Rule state, we don't have that much control over it. All the control comes from Raleigh. So we'll keep pushing on that. We just want to be very selective of what comes. I mean, obviously, we just went through a time where there was a lot of contention about a data center outside of Mooresville on a large piece of property, and that it didn't fit and fit the community and fit the time frame of when it was going to come. So that that was one of our things about being intentional of what does work in our community, what's sustainable, and going to bring a plus to our community. As we were talking just a minute before we went offline, that the demographics of our community and keeping up with that and being nimble to service that. Not only quality of life with parks and mobility, but what else is needed. Obviously, with the options of medical services that vary, that brings in a more of a retiring age group, which is a plus. That's generally they have spendable cash. They don't
They
let
have
kids in
disposable
school.
income. That's right.
So that's a good thing. But making sure that we're fulfilling the opportunities for the quality of life for that
Right.
that
And
age demographic.
Right. And one other thing we didn't touch on, we talked about all the great things, but one of the other, I mean, there's several. Most communities can only point to one, but one of the other really strong traits of Mooresville is the economic diversity, the in businesses. So not just different sectors, different. Most communities are tied to, you're in biotech, you're in technology, you're in one thing or the other. I mean, we have motorsports, we have corporate headquarters, we have advanced manufacturing, we have Department of Defense, we have. I mean, it is such such a diverse employment base that, and then too, the number of people. I think we're a net importer of jobs into Mooresville, whereas most suburbs are send their folks to Charlotte. People actually drive into Mooresville to work.
Yeah. I share with people that Mooresville is kind of like the north hub of our region. People come to Mooresville, which is a lot of the traffic, for shopping, for the medical services, and for employment. So when all of that traffic is coming into our hub of the north part of when you say the Charlotte region, that's where they're coming. It's
Right.
there. Everybody's coming to Mooresville, so it's good. We do more in Mooresville.
Right, and too, to understand this for folks that, I mean, I know most of the folks do live here, but if you're in the Huntersville to Mooresville, now in pushing, I would say, into Troutman, it's completely different than it is in the midsection of Iredell or the north end of Iredell. So, I mean, basically from Cornelius Road South, I think there's close to 120,000 people.
Mhm.
And all of Iredell County, the other 35, 40 miles north, there's not even 100,000 people. So,
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's really important that, all of our folks involved participate, especially when it comes to transportation. So, yeah. So what do you see Mooresville looking like, the feel of it for businesses, residents in the next 15, 20 years? Call it the next chapter of Mooresville.
Sure.
What's your vision?
Sure. So, obviously, the roads will not get finished fast enough to be able to handle all of the traffic that comes in, but having alternative transportation options. So one of the other large goals that we have right now and that we're working on is microtransit. So, we have a bus system that goes around Mooresville, but it takes an hour to ride the Mooresville Main. So we really want microtransit to be more of an on-demand. So that is another key project that we're working on through the transportation.
Well, very good. We'll look into microtransit in another meeting, in another show. But I want to give you an opportunity too. It is an election year, and people sometimes forget that more happens locally that impacts your day-to-day life than it does federally. So we need to pay close attention to the local election. So
Absolutely.
you might be running again, correct?
I am, yes. This November 5th will, I do have two other opponents for the Ward 4 seat. Ward 4 is really kind of the west side of town, so that would be west of Highway 21. And, the things that we really want to get accomplished as a board the next 4 years will be around transportation is the Exit 38, the microtransit, getting the rest of the projects that are kind of held up waiting on Federal Railroad Association or department to sign off on the agreement. So moving that along. And then as far as the quality of life is making sure that we have that mill to mill, preserving that downtown, that historical feel of welcoming and, having the small business prosperity around our entire community. We have a lot of commercial and, the national brands. Obviously, if you want to go to a warehouse club in Mooresville, you're going to come to Mooresville for Costco, BJ's, and Sam's Club. But making sure that we're preserving opportunity for small businesses is key. Along with that's going to come, yes, more housing options, some different type of housing options. It's not, we've seen a swing from everything with single family to then boom, we had a huge swing to a lot of apartments, but we didn't have that many apartment options. Now we have a lot of options. to, now we've got the attached housing with the townhouses. So really making sure that we have a variety of that and not forgetting that we need, attainable housing. So we have a great builder that is working with that, has a goal of doing 100 houses that are attainable in the Mill Village and around. So we're working on that. So we've just got to preserve what we have. I always tell people we don't want to screw it up.
That's right.
And make sure that we have the brightest and best talent, and that means paying them a little higher in Mooresville. So we want the best. If you have the worst day of your life and you're having to call the police or fire, you want the very best to show up.
Absolutely. And again, Lisa Qualls, Commissioner, Town of Mooresville, also Chairperson of the Charlotte Regional Transportation Organization, running for office. So, check her out. Again, Brad Howard, and this is Beyond the Blueprint. We will see you next week.